UK stamp duty surcharges. What stamp duty changes mean for us as property investors. Hi everyone. Right, so as you all will have known by now from watching my channel, I have literally been actively property investing for the past 3 years or so, even though I'm a architectural designer with 20 plus years experience. I've literally been dipping my toes into the world of property investing, and that's specifically doing mixed use to residential conversions and renovations. And honestly, it has been quite a roller coaster. Now, many of you that are following along with my journey are literally like me, either dipping your toes into property investing as well, or you're already there and doing it. And now we're starting to see all of these changes which are resulting in additional fees and costs to us. For example, as I'm going to talk about in today's video, it's going to be stamp duty changes. So with all of these adjustments, is now really the right time to buy as a property investor? And what's going to be the right move for us as property investors moving forwards? Let's get into the video. So the UK government shook things up back in October with all these changes to stamp duty, and I literally was going to make a video on that because it impacted me, as it did probably most of you. It impacted me almost straight away, but I didn't, because I just literally didn't get a chance to, and because I've had so many other things going off in the background. So they've literally tweaked the rates and the bands and all stuff like this, which, you guessed it, it's going to affect us as property investors, because potentially it's going to give us additional charges that we need to account for, as if we didn't need any more costs added onto things. So I wanted to take this time and this chance just to sit back, unpack things, and just have a look at what this means for myself, and obviously what this means for us guys moving forwards when we're getting into property investing. So first things first, back in 2024, towards the end of October, we literally got the shock of, right, we're going to add an additional percentages onto the rates for stamp duty. So they in effect added a surcharge onto the stamp duty, so that increased to 5%, and that was on additional properties up to £250,000. And I particularly mention this because that was around sort of the price range, or up to the price range that I sort of looking for properties to invest in. So it really impacted me. And story time, guys, I was literally on a viewing, looking at a property with, obviously, if you've watched my channel before, and by the way, check out my channel if you like videos like this. I'm literally documenting my whole entire property journey here on YouTube, so please stick around if you want to see that. I was literally on a viewing with the view to purchasing a property which, as most of you know, have been following along with me, I'm looking to try and make that transition from investment or almost getting into development. I was literally on a viewing, looking at a property where I thought, great, brilliant, I could actually add an additional property onto the side and build one from scratch. And like I say, if you guys have followed along with me, my literal plan and my property journey and everything like that, as part of my property plan, I've purchased mixed use properties in the past, added an additional unit to them by converting the commercial property into a residential unit. So that was my way of sort of getting started. So the property that I was looking at, as I said, I really wanted to add an additional unit onto the side of it because it had a big enough footprint all around to house another residential property, and then I was looking to sell both of them and kickstart the next stage in my property journey. So needless to say, if I was going to add an additional property and then renovate the other one, the property that I was actually looking at, it was within the 250 band again straight away. And it was literally that night they were saying if you hadn't completed by midnight on the 31st of October, any transactions after that would be subject to the additional surcharge or the additional 5% stamp duty rate, which obviously would have impacted me straight away. So I had to go back and have a think and run the figures through again to see how that would have affected me and my bottom line moving forward. So that literally affected me straight away. By the way, guys, if you are looking to sort of ask any questions about investment properties and in terms of mortgaging or funding, getting the funds together for the actual purchasing of the property, by the way, guys, my mortgage advisor's details are in the description box below. You can also speak to her if you've got any sort of funding related, mortgage related questions. You can always speak to her. If you've got any other questions about your finances or anything like that, you can always use Unbiased. They are literally like a matchmaking service for your finances, so they will literally match you up with a financial advisor, things like that, if that's who you need to see. If you're looking to see how you can get onto and what plan you need or financial plan you need to put in place to get you on the road to investing, you can always speak to them. Your first consultation application is for free, and if you use my link in the description box below, I'll get a small commission, so thank you. This kind of leads me on to my next point. I'm literally sticking to my plan, and as I've said already in the video, if you've watched any of my other videos, my plan has always been to try to buy, where possible, mixed use properties. That literally is my way of sort of hopefully getting around this, is by trying to purchase commercial or mixed use properties where the stamp duty charges are a little bit different. I will discuss this more as we go through the video. So as I've said before, I didn't really get a chance to make this video on it because I had other things that I was doing, and I'm so glad I didn't, because now I'm hearing that there's even more changes. So obviously I'm reading off my notes as well, guys. That's why I'm looking down. Now, whereas before the band that I was sort of looking at was literally up to 250,000. Yeah, so not only did it change last year in October, so that it increased to 5% for your stamp duty for properties up to 250,000 for an additional property. So that's going to affect us as investors from midnight on the 31st of October. Now, more changes are coming into place again as of the 1st of April 2025. So they're now sort of splitting out and adding more bands to it as well. So up to 125,000 is going to be the 5% stamp duty for any additional properties, and then you've got the 125,001 to 250,000 is going to be 7%. Yes, you heard it right. Painful. And that's for additional residential properties. And as I say, guys, literally do your research as well. This is what I'm looking at online, and this is from doing my research. So everyone do your research on this as well. So what does this mean? As I said, this is just all my personal opinions, so don't take me for gospel on this. But I think obviously moving forward, we might see less people getting into property investment because of that. So then maybe there's reduced competition, and this is for residential properties. We may see better deals. We might be able to negotiate a bit more, because it's not only going to affect investors when purchasing additional properties. There's also changes in stamp duty bands and rates and things for first-time buyers as well. So it's going to affect everyone that's looking to purchase property, basically. So it's probably going to be, it might be, as I said, a good thing for us, because it's going to reduce competition and we can use it to negotiate. But on the other hand, it's still expensive, which leads me on to my next point. We can't avoid the costs, guys. All we can try and do is mitigate against costs and fees. Again, I've got a whole playlist of things I've implemented as actively investing in the last 3 or so years, and how to sort of mitigate against risks when you're doing the actual project, stuff like that, and actually purchasing and things like, and my experience of purchasing, that can help guide you, maybe help somebody out there. You know, so there's always going to be extra costs, whether it's stamp duty, whether it's maintenance, the additional things that you didn't quite see in the first place when you're buying, when you're doing the actual project, damp, mold, all stuff like this. There's always going to be some sort of cost there or thereabouts. So really, we need to budget smartly and add as much value as we can when we're doing these projects. So at the end of the day, it's about staying calm and knowing your numbers, and doing like all the rich are doing, just adapting your things to fit in with their rules. So yes, stamp duty may have crept up, but this doesn't mean that your property investing dreams have to creep away as well. So it's really about seeing all those golden opportunities and looking for those opportunities in places where others might not see them. And that leads me on to my next point, and that is obviously what I'm doing is the mixed use to residential strategy. So for example, I'm just looking on the government website now on the stamp duty section, and it's literally saying on here, a mixed property is one that is both residential and non-residential elements. So for example, flat connected to a shop, doctor, surgery, or an office, for example. And the bands that you're showing here is still the same bands that I saw previously before. It says up to 150,000, 0. Then the next 100,000 on the portion from 150,001 to 250,000, 2%. So that's literally my strategy moving forward, and I'm glad that I picked that strategy in the first place. And you've got to sort of weigh this up as well. So where you might be saving somewhere with this strategy, it might be more expensive elsewhere. So there might be other things that you need to look at as well. But yeah, that's pretty much my strategy moving forwards. And you might be thinking, but Sabreena, how do I actually go about physically, practically doing a project where I'm converting a mixed use property to a residential? Well, I've linked a playlist where I've done just that. Thanks guys, I'll see you over there.